And we went through our savings. We went through our retirement. And even with this phenomenal cost cutting that she implemented, at a certain point, we were going to be out on the street if something didn't happen. And thankfully, we had help from family. We had help from friends. So when I hear about the expert advice givers giving us direction from the comfort of their offices, what they're offering in terms of job interview advice is great if you have a job and if you're trying to change to another job and you don't have to worry about how do I pay my utilities bill next week. But I've lived through this. I understand it. So within this strategy of what's in it for me, I deal with here's how you handle the guilt, the anger, because it gets in the way. How can you focus on memorizing 15,000 random tips when you're trying to keep from losing your mind? You're trying to handle all of these horrible feelings and physical ones too. Sleeplessness, irritability, you can't eat.
Anxiousness.
Exactly. So
you still have to be a father. You still have to be a provider in some sort.
And you can't panic in front of your kids.
And a lot of times it costs to look for work.
Yes. But they're telling you, you know what? Just work with this.
Just buy another how-to book.
Right. And that's and I find that infuriating because they don't get it. They don't understand. And they're offering the same stuff that has been offered for years and years and years. And that's easy to do when you haven't tasted it, when you haven't seen the horror that this experience can inflict upon your life and the life of your loved ones. So when I see the seminars being offered, when I see the section in Barnes & Noble of all of these, here's how to interview recommendations, it makes me a little ill. And the main reason why I wrote this audiobook was because I wanted to let people know that they have an alternative. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, that's the definition of insanity. You need to take a different approach. Because,
without being fruitful, of course.
Yes, right. But if you are going out and you're following the tips and you're buying the books and it is not working, there's something wrong with what you're being...
Change it up, my friend.
There's something wrong with what you're being taught. And I'm trying to shake people's perspectives and show them there is a totally different way to do this. And it works. And it's right for this economy.
$5.77?
$5.77. If folks go to my website, therehirementcoach.com. That's like retirement, but rehirement because I'm helping you get rehired. But therehirementcoach.com.
So you can get rehired so you can retire.
Well, hopefully. There's a link to my audiobook on audible.com. And you could download it to your iPod, to your computer, to burn to a CD. So it's very easy and fast to get this information. And it will literally smack people into a totally different way of looking at this process.
Sure. Isn't it kind of unfathomable, Rafe? If you think about it, okay, I'm in my 40s, I'm 43, about retiring, you say to yourself, Jesus, especially with all the health reform going on right now, the uncertainty of so many different things in our world, and of certainly number one, first and foremost, the economy. You say to yourself, Jesus, am I going to be able to retire at 65?
Yeah.
But you know what? This is how I justify not flipping out. I say to myself, there's no way I can retire because I'm that type of person. And hopefully everyone else is, because you're probably going to have to work a lot longer than initially anticipated.
Well, and I went through this. When I was out of work a month, 2 months, I started getting into that space. How am I going to afford my kids' college? How am I going to retire? But you know what? You don't know what's going to happen.
You never know. And you can't ponder too long on the unknown,
because
that's for sure.
It's negative and it's unfathomable, and you don't have the answer, and I don't have the answer. So you have to deal with the here and now. What's in my control? What can I do today to alter my situation? That's all you can focus on. And you know, the 12-step programs, they say one day at a time. And it's true. You literally have to take it one day. Because if you start, you can make yourself insane. You'll want to jump off a bridge of all the what ifs. But the what ifs are not what ares yet. And you have to focus on the what ares, and the what are, or rather the what you have to do is you have to get hired. You have to take it's like, summoning all of your superhero powers and strength and just this one goal, get a job. And you can do it. And this strategy is the right one for right now. And it will absolutely get you hired faster than any other process out there.
Or your $5.77 back?
You'll have to talk to the Audible folks about that.
Have to talk to your wife. Sounds like she's got the...
you know what? She's probably got a plan. She's probably got a handle on that.
So it's going to give you edge, huh?
It's going to give you edge, perspective. It's going to give you confidence. It's going to give you focus, strategy, and direction. Because all these other folks are giving you is suggestions of how to sit, how to stand, how to look, how to dress. And
which are important.
You know what? They're
at a certain
important,
level.
but you need a strategy
Presence?
to unite them all together.
Yes.
Imagine if Joe Girardi said to Mariano Rivera, you know what, Mariano? Just throw every pitch you know. Just throw every pitch you know, and, one of them will get a strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a strategy.
Yeah. We wouldn't have had a parade last week.
Right, we wouldn't have had a parade because Mariano Rivera knew the Philly players, knew their strengths, knew their weaknesses, knew which pitches they were
Studied all
suckers
the
for.
background.
He did his
Yeah.
research, and this is exactly what I'm saying. You do your research so you know when you get into that room what their hot buttons are, and how you can benefit them with what you can do for them.
Now, Rafe, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but in your Rafe Gomez mind of minds, in terms of the economy and business and how things are going to level out, do you think even when things become a little bit more flush, the world of business is really going to change and go back to normal as we knew it 10 years ago?
No, because it's not as if some companies are going to say, "Okay, we're healthy again because we saved all this money. Let's bring them all back." That's not going to happen. The foreclosures are not going to stop happening.
And I have to interrupt you one second. A lot of the companies are going to realize how much they were able to do with fewer people.
Exactly.
Which is scary.
Yes, it's very scary. So if you are riding high and thinking that you are indispensable and bulletproof,
think again, my friend.
and that you've gone to the right schools,
Yeah.
and there's no way they'll cut my job.
Because
no
Mrs.
way.
Rafe Gomez may have to come in there and do a, what's the expression you used? Lockdown in your house for
man.
you.
She will take control and say, "Okay, this, and this gotta go."
No more. Vamonos.
Right.
TheRehirementCoach.com. TheRehirementCoach.com. Rafe Gomez, always a pleasure, my friend. All the best to you. And thanks for, if there is an upside to you going through a year and a half being out of unemployed, this is it.
I think you got a point there, Mark. It's a benefit that I didn't think would happen. If you told me a year ago that I would be doing this, I never would have known, but it helped me. It's right for this economy. It works every single day in business transactions, and all I've done is take this strategy and move it to interviews, and it works.
And you become a better and smarter person.
Yes, you do. It really helps everything you do, because you realize that if you're trying to ask someone to do something they wouldn't otherwise do, you need to answer that question that's going through their minds. What's in it for me?
And you need to be able to do it yourself and better than they can.
Yep. Exactly.
Rafe, all the best to you, my friend.
Thank you, Mark.
This has been Frequency on 101.9 RXP, New York's Rock Experience.